The atrocities of the Third Reich are etched into history. We know the monsters: Himmler, Goering, Hess, Heydrich. But history books often turn the page too soon on the women who stood by them. These were the Nazi wives, the wives of Adolf Hitler's inner circle. They enjoyed unimaginable wealth and power. But when the regime collapsed, what was their ultimate fate? Were they held accountable for the actions of their husbands, or did they simply disappear? This documentary is not just about what happened to them, but what they did next. We revealed the dark truth of their post-war lives, from the one who ran a support network for fugitive SS members to the one who successfully sued the West German government to secure a massive pension. And you won't believe the controversial verdict one of them received in 1959. Stay until the end to see how she won her legal battle despite her husband's role as a chief architect of the Holocaust.
We begin with Ilse Hess, the wife of Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy. Ilse's loyalty to National Socialism was not passive, it was total. She was one of the first women to join the Nazi Party in 1921, and again in 1925 after the ban was lifted. Their marriage, which took place in 1927, was heavily influenced by Hitler himself, who later became the godfather to their only child, Wolf Hess. Ilse was truly a steadfast companion, standing by her husband even when he undertook his infamous solo flight to Scotland in a futile attempt to negotiate peace. The repercussions of his flight were severe, but Ilse remained a staunch defender of both her husband and the party. When Rudolf Hess was sentenced to life imprisonment during the Nuremberg trials, Ilse was left to face a world that had irrevocably changed. Like other wives of high-ranking Nazis, Ilse was arrested after the war and shipped off to an internment camp in Augsburg. Upon her release, she was forced to rebuild her life from scratch. She moved to Allgäu, where, by 1955, she managed to open a boarding house. But her true allegiance never wavered. Ilse Hess remained a fervent supporter of National Socialism and devoted to Hitler's ideologies until her death. Even more shockingly, she provided support to Stille Hilfe, a relief organization specifically created for arrested, condemned, and fugitive SS members. She leveraged her notoriety, publishing a controversial book in 1952, England, Nuremberg, Spandau, Ein Schicksal in Briefen, and spent her later years tirelessly campaigning for her husband's release from Spandau prison. Ilse Hess passed away in 1998.
Next is Margarete Himmler, wife of Reichsfuhrer SS Heinrich Himmler. The irony of her early life is striking. She was initially a trained nurse, intending to save lives in World War I. After meeting Heinrich during a lecture tour in 1927, their relationship progressed despite Himmler's family's grudging acceptance due to her age, previous marriage, and Protestant faith. Margarete was not just a homemaker. She joined the Nazi Party in 1928 and actively arranged social gatherings for the spouses of high-ranking SS leaders. However, records indicate she was profoundly unpopular. As the war intensified, so did her role. By late 1939, Margarete was overseeing Red Cross hospitals across Berlin-Brandenburg. This position led her to mission trips in German-occupied regions. In a chilling diary entry from a trip to German-occupied Poland in March 1940, Margarete wrote, "This Jewish rabble, Polacks, most of them don't look like human beings, and the dirt is indescribable. It's an incredible job trying to create order there." This statement is critical. It confirms her direct, eyewitness knowledge of the events unfolding and her alignment with the genocidal ideology of the regime. She was an accomplice, actively participating in the regime's machinery. In a letter to her brother-in-law in 1945, she expressed her pride in her husband, saying, "How wonderful that he has been called to great tasks and is equal to them. The whole of Germany is looking to him." Their marriage had ended years before when she discovered Himmler's affair and 2 illegitimate children. After the war, Margarete was subjected to countless investigations. She adamantly denied any awareness of her husband's monstrous activities and pleaded to be absolved of Nazi association. In 1953, the court finally ruled not that she was innocent, but that she was a profiteer of the Nazi regime. Her sentence was 30 days of penal labor. She was stripped of her voting rights and pension eligibility. Margarete tried to distance herself from the past by living under the pseudonym Margarete Boden until her death in 1967.
Lina Heydrich, wife of Reinhard Heydrich, the chief architect of the Holocaust, represents the most shocking case of post-war legal maneuvering. Lina joined the Nazi Party even before her husband did, heavily influenced by her brother. She was the driving force behind Reinhard Heydrich's career, suggesting he joined the newly established SS after he was dismissed from the Navy for conduct unbecoming. Their close ties to the regime were rewarded when Hitler gifted Lina a large estate in rural Bohemia. Here, the details become horrifying. She kept several prisoners for forced labor. It is alleged that she physically abused them. The family lived in opulence until they, like many other fleeing Germans, escaped the advancing Soviet Red Army in April 1945. Post-war, Lina was initially acquitted in the denazification proceedings. But here's the unbelievable part. Through protracted court battles against the West German government in 1956 and 1959, Lina successfully secured a significant pension. This was a deeply controversial decision given her husband's pivotal role in the systematic murder of millions. Even though Czechoslovakia convicted and sentenced her to life imprisonment in absentia, she was able to avoid the sentence. To change her notorious surname, she married Finnish theater director Mauno Manninen during a vacation in 1965. She ran her first husband's former summer house as a restaurant and inn, and in 1976 she even wrote a memoir titled Life with a War Criminal. Lina Heydrich spent the rest of her life tirelessly defending her first husband's reputation until her passing in 1985.
Finally, we look at Emmy Goering, the wife of Hermann Goering, the Luftwaffe chief and one of the most powerful men in the Reich. She was so close to the regime that she was gifted Nazi Party induction as a Christmas present in 1938. Emmy reveled in her status, often acting as Hitler's hostess at state functions and boldly proclaiming herself the First Lady of the Third Reich. This led to a huge rift with Eva Braun, Hitler's partner, whom Emmy openly treated with disdain. Her arrogance eventually resulted in her exclusion from Hitler's Bavarian retreat, the Berghof. During the war, the Goerings lived a life of unprecedented opulence. Emmy enjoyed their mansions, estates, and castles, wealth and art that were confiscated from Jews and other enemies of the regime. When their daughter Etta was born, Hermann Goering commanded a salute of 500 planes to fly over Berlin, a display of wealth that speaks volumes about their moral compass. After the war, a German denazification court found Emmy Goering guilty of being a Nazi. Unlike some others, she faced the immediate consequences: a year-long incarceration, the seizure of 30% of her remaining wealth, and a 5-year prohibition from performing on stage. After her release, Emmy Goering managed to secure a small apartment in Munich. She penned an autobiography called My Life with Goering and died in 1973. Her life was a stark transition from the self-proclaimed First Lady of a 1,000-year Reich to a convicted, impoverished former actress.
The post-war lives of these 4 women, Ilse Hess, Margarete Himmler, Lina Heydrich, and Emmy Goering, reveal a complex and disturbing truth. While the state machinery sought justice against the men, the women were often able to exploit legal loopholes or simply use denial and reinvention to navigate the post-war world.
They were not merely victims of their husbands' choices. They were believers, participants, and, in some cases, profiteers. And perhaps the most unsettling commonality, many of them, like Ilse Hess and Lina Heydrich, remained staunchly loyal to the ideology and the reputation of their husbands until their very last breath.
What does it say about a system of justice when a woman whose husband was a chief architect of genocide can successfully sue for and receive a lifetime pension? The fact that Lina Heydrich won her controversial court battle in 1959 remains a chilling testament to the long shadow of the Third Reich's power.
If this chapter of hidden history shocked you, hit the subscribe button and tell us in the comments below. Do you believe these women were held sufficiently accountable for their involvement in the Nazi regime? Your thoughts drive the conversation. Thanks for watching.